Come on, bitch, let's go. Come on, get ready, bitches. You haven't seen nothing yet. Come on.
Valentino, Versace, Lamborghini, Bugatti. I got money to burn. I'm single and I'm naughty.
Come on.
Tiffany's, Cartier, Gucci, Armani.
Come on.
Break out your black card, boys. It's time to party.
Hi, you guys. I cannot believe my life. So I have to start off by telling you guys why I missed doing my Real Housewives of Orange County recap and gossip dump for this last week, August 29th, 2024. I always drop it Thursday late night, and I never miss a beat on my Decadish Dana YouTube channel. But this week I had to, because you will not believe what happened. So John and I were getting ready to go home after being at the Marriott Hotel for 5.5 months and then moving to an Airbnb to kind of ride out the last of our time having to stay away from the house because I had a shower pan breach that then was remediated incorrectly, and that caused a bunch of other problems. And so it took all this time to get that figured out. And we still hadn't finalized things with our insurance on the rebuild, John and I, my son. And so we were getting there, though. We had finally gotten a mold air test that came back negative. We were getting another toxic thing that was in the air test back on Tuesday, and we were going to move in on Wednesday again and just be in a house with 2 gutted rooms. Well, I get a phone call driving John back from high school yesterday from the remediation company I had hired to clean all of this up, etc. And they went to the property using a lockbox and went in to change up some of the equipment and, turn some things off and turn other things on. And when they got in there, they saw 3 inches of water on the floor. And they were like, what is happening? And they went and followed a noise, and they found out that the mirror in the gutted bathroom over the double vanity sink I had in my master bathroom had fallen from the wall. It had been salvaged in the remediation. It fell from the wall. It crashed down on a pipe that for the 2 sinks underneath that had been, the vanity had all been removed for the water damage. And it busted the pipe open, and the pipe splattered water on the house. And so much water came out. There were 3 inches of water. The bedroom got wet again. All the gutted spaces that I had just had remediated got all wet again. A closet that was the only closet I didn't have to empty because it had been sealed during the initial remediation ended up having to be opened, everything in it wet. Okay, so my last belongings got destroyed, if you can believe it. And I was sitting there in the middle of it all, and I just lost it. How much can the world throw at me? It's so hard, Thank God it was the remediation company that found it, because I really don't know what I would have done if I had found it without someone calming me down. I ran over there, and, they had already started to remediate the water damage. And thank God they, could jump into action right away, right? And because otherwise I could be facing another few months out of my house again with an air quality issue. So they jump into it. They pull all my things out. We start drying it as best we can. They have to pull up all the floors in my hallway, in my living room, which were all fine before this. They have to gut my entire floors of my bathroom that wasn't impacted except for the tub in the original situation. I mean, it just literally destroyed another half of my house. And John started to cry because he was like, I can't do this, Mom. I can't not be home for another few months. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Anyway, I stayed there remediating until like 8 o'clock at night or 7 or something. And then I came home and I just finished my work and I just didn't have it in me to do the Orange County recap gossip dump. And so, I uploaded the Patreon content. I did a deep dive of Michael Lynch's passing on Saturday and got that up. And the Patreon content, of course, will never be impacted by a tragedy of any sort in my life because I rely so much on it. But, YouTube had to go for this week, sadly. And I just wanted to apologize to you guys because I know so many of you look forward to my videos on Thursday night. And we've built such a nice relationship and I don't like to let you guys down. But sadly, I just don't have any more to give on that. So, but I'm going to do like I always do. I'm going to do what I would tell you guys to do when you're having a really difficult time. Just remember, this too shall pass. And put your military hat on. Pretend you're a warrior. And keep on fighting. And never give up. Keep on keeping on. And that's what I told my son. I said, cry. Let it out. Life is hard and nothing is fair. But know this. Your middle name means survivor, and that's what you will do, just like your mom. And on that note, we're going to start our show, and I'm going to stop crying, and we're going to have some fun. So let's do this.
Come on, bitch, let's go.
All right, so first let me start with some shocking Real Housewives of New Jersey gossip that I fell upon. Oh my goodness. I mean, I've been putting little bits and bobs that I've been sent that is unknown sort of mainstream gossip about New Jersey in the chat, in the Patreon. If you guys haven't gone in that chat and read up that news feed, you need to. But this I haven't disclosed yet. And what it is that I found out that the guy who runs the Warrior program that Louis Ruelas did that famous video where he's like seemingly almost naked or something, or at least he has no shirt on. And he's really close to the camera and he's talking to a woman who is one of his exes. And he's like, I'm going to change and all this stuff. And it went viral because it went on Real Housewives of New Jersey and it went around the cast and it was everywhere, right? It was spilled to one of the New Jersey influencers and they let it rip. And the next thing you know, it was out there.
I hope that this hits your heart well and you understand where I'm coming from. And I hope to come home to you and be able to have a chance and opportunity to talk to you and share with you my experience in my life.
You go back to your fucking brain. She doesn't want to fucking hear your brain.
I love you. I'm sorry I made mistakes and held myself back and held my truth inside.
You better fucking
and
feel
worried
her pain.
worried about other people around me.
Feel her
acknowledgement. I feel your pain. I'm sorry I put you through pain. Thank you for being patient with me and seeing the man that I didn't see that you see and you saw in me.
What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to fix this. I'm going to come home and show you and prove to you the man, the best version of myself that I am right now.
She heard that before. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take action as soon as I get home.
You're saying beautiful words. What are you going to do?
I'm going to propose to you and get married.
And there were even rumors in the season finale, or was it the season watch party, that Jacqueline Goldschneider dropped this tea to the influencers to try to hurt Teresa Giudice because she was meeting with the two Vanessas behind Teresa's back to get dirt. Anyway, this is how it all ties together. So Garrett White, I know a lot about him. I'm not going to drag him though. If you want to see more on him, you know what to do. But Garrett has this podcast called Date Your Wife. And I was shocked because on August 5th, guess who he has on the show as a guest, which was like, I couldn't believe it. Ryan Boyjian, Jennifer Pedrani's fiance. And Jennifer joins him on this show. So I don't know if Ryan has gone to the Warrior program, which would make so much sense for his personality, right? Ryan's personality on Real Housewives of Orange County. Or if Louis Ruelas introduced Ryan to Garrett because they're all local in, hanging out in Los Angeles and Orange County. But needless to say, I was totally shocked. I'm going to play you a little little bit of this interview they did, and you guys can see what you think about it. Now, you guys know that Ryan recently was implicated in a bookie scandal. And of course, I bring that up not to hurt Ryan because he wasn't indicted or anything, but because it's a theme on Real Housewives of Orange County season 18 that we're watching now. You know, famously, Tamra Judge says on one of the clips, he's a bookie, and Jennifer's like, watch it. And then she's like, what are you going to do? Have me killed? And then that's where the whole FBI and all that conversation is coming up in season 18 if you're not following it. So I thought it was interesting that Ryan and Garrett are friends. Maybe Garrett didn't know that he's entangled in a bookie scandal. Maybe he doesn't care. I mean, you know, what's that saying? Birds of a feather flock together. But not always, but most of the time. Let me play this for you.
Garrett, I was 18 and I was dating him for like a month, and then somebody's like, oh, you're married or you're dating Garrett, ask him about his son. I'm like, oh no, different Garrett. We were dating, he didn't tell me he had a son.
No
and I was
way.
18. I would have like freaked out.
I don't know.
And then
If she
people
was
would
gonna
tell
be
me
it.
all the time, they're like, it was like my mom thought I was crazy because we're 7 years apart and he has a kid. And I was like, don't worry, we're not going to get married.
It's not going anywhere.
It's just for fun. Yeah, now I'm like,
just having fun.
22 years later, we're still here.
After this hot piece of ass, that's what you're thinking.
I was just having fun. And then
You're 18. You're like, this guy's wild. Let's go.
It's his kid, his problem.
Okay, so hold up. So you're married. Do you have the feeling when you were still married?
Oh, I knew.
You knew.
It was a slow death,
But
honestly.
you guys, how many years before you ended your marriage did you know it was over?
2?
2 years? And when was this like an event or a slow roll into death?
Slow roll. And I was fighting it tooth and nail the whole time. Like I kept chasing it, thinking maybe it's not what I think it is. But words were being said and feelings were being felt. And I couldn't figure out why they didn't match. Didn't match.
I think it's hard too as a mom, like you hold on to the family for your kids. Like you can be in
100%.
so much pain, but you're like, I have to do the best for my children.
Yeah.
And so you hold on to the story for so long until you're in so much pain that you're like, I can't do this anymore.
And it was confusing because the marriage was not great, but we were a good family. And so I felt like, well, we have this like amazing family, and people would compliment the family, but I didn't know why my ex-husband and I were such a miss. I couldn't figure that out. And when I would ask, it would get flipped at me. Like, you have to stop being insecure. You have to stop asking. And then I would be like, okay, Jen, pull it together. You're being insecure. But, you know, thoughts and feelings and actions were not aligning.
Got it. So this piece starts slowly dying. You come to terms with the fact that it's not it. When did that happen for you?
This
I'm
is the part that was crappy of me, because I think, knowing my personality, I knew it, but I'm a stayer. Like I would just stay. And then it was his fault. I met this guy, but it wasn't even like, when I met Ryan, I thought he's nothing. Like, he's just invoking some feeling that I'm like, why am I not having this? I don't even know him, but why does he remember conversation with me? Why does he check back in and ask about like how this went? But I can't even get my husband to have a conversation with me. And it started making me feel like, oh my gosh, I want something bigger and better. And so I didn't think it would be Ryan. I kind of had heard this Playboy thing about him, and I knew I was not like that mold for him. And so I just knew he invoked something in me that like woke me up.
Like the feelings that you weren't having in your marriage. You're like, wait, I want this, and I'm unwilling to stay married to this guy if I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Which is basically like connection, conversation, somebody who cares to like check in on you, like you said.
Right. Or just remembers, like simple conversation. And so now I'm having this like struggle of, and then I start testing, like it wasn't fair, but I started testing my ex. I'd come home and I'd be like, remember when I told you about we were building our yoga studio at the time, and I said, remember I told you about the plumbers and and my ex would be like, you didn't tell me about that. But like this guy who I don't even know would be like, Jen, did your plumbers make it to the studio? You know, and I'd be like, wow, okay, this is kind of weird. Like my ex should know. Why does this guy know?
Yeah.
And so I just started thinking like, yeah, maybe something's not right here.
That's why, like, I mean, Danielle and I would have sex like that. She wouldn't look at me either. She'd like, look away. I tried to get her eyes. She'd look away. Because like I think there's something more
intimate.
there's way more intimate eye fucking than there is like body.
You are right. It is.
So
was
you're
just a
sitting in
wet-
that bar and you're feeling comfortable, but you have the talk with her.
I did.
What was the talk like?
I just said, you're the most beautiful woman to me. I'm so confused as to what's happening here. It's like we're playing a charade game. Is it light enough? Is it dark enough? Can you turn this? Can we be under the covers? I'm like, this is like we're writing a script.
Yeah.
Can we just be like intimate and close? And finally we had that conversation and she shared her insecurities, and obviously I can understand why. And I think it continued to help evolve us, because I could have empathy and understanding for where she was coming from.
Right.
Was it hard for you, like, I mean, knowing his background, to like feel like you could trust him?
Yes.
And even now, I mean, like, is it something that is scary for you, or is it just how he shows up that you're like, I know I can trust him?
You know, it's weird. We had a situation, I don't know your story, but I heard you say like the emotional affair. We had a situation early on in our relationship, and it was a definite like hiccup between us. And I was like, gosh, am I ever going to come back from this? And with Ryan, like every time we go out and about, not every time, but a lot of times when we go out and about, we will run into an ex or a hookup or this or that. And he's very friendly with all of them. And so I'm not like a mean girl. So I feel like I need to be friendly back. But then it's just weird and uncomfortable. I don't have anybody. I'm from a tiny town in Oklahoma. I was married forever. So it's been an adjustment. Like I've had to grow in confidence in my man, because if I don't, it'll eat me alive.
Yeah. You have to stand in your own certainty.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, he's with me.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's like sexy to a man. It's like when you can stand in that power.
Ooh, that's a little bit of a red flag there, huh? Just saying. Oh, well, Jennifer Pedrani standing in her power with Ryan Boyajian. She's going to stay with him through all thick and thin. All of his trials and tribulations, she's a stayer. Oh boy. So we find out, of course, that Garrett met his wife that he's with when she was 18. That was interesting. But they've been together for 22 years, so obviously they had great chemistry. Only a 7-year age difference, so that's not too bad, I guess. They ask how Real Housewives of Orange County has impacted them, and Jennifer Pedrani says, listen, this show has brought us so close together. It's actually one of the reasons that, we're so close now. I thought that was kind of notable. And they pre-tell the kids what's going to be on the show so the kids don't get blindsided, and that helps the kids deal and cope with what comes out on Real Housewives of Orange County.
Yeah, last season, I'll give you guys like a peek behind. Jen and I didn't live together. Her and her ex were nesting. The kids and them stayed at one house. When it was her time with the kids, she'd be there. When she wasn't with the kids, she'd come to my house. During filming her first season, she would film. It would be tumultuous, as oftentimes it is. And then she'd call me after, and I'd be like, hey, babe, how was filming? And she's either in tears or screaming at me. Where the fuck were you last night? I'm like, well, you and I went to dinner, and I came home, and my daughter and I watched so-and-so on TV. Why? It's like, somebody told me you were out at a bar last night with a brunette. I'm like,
so they plant seeds.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Man.
And so we would do this, and then that just, at that point, you're either going this way or you're going this way.
Yeah, you got to trust.
It made the glue. It strengthened our relationship tenfold, because we, again, sat each other down and we're like, we got to stop.
I see this show do two things to people. It either like breaks them or brings them together, it seems like. I had a client who was on the show, and it was hard for me to watch.
Was it?
And because I did her hair personally, and she had like 6, 7 kids, I can't remember. And anyways, it was hard for me to watch, like, everything kind of seemed like it just, like, fell apart. And I was like, oh, but it partly is, like, it almost exposed what was maybe she was kind of hiding or going through anyways.
Okay, she's talking about Bronwyn, obviously, from Real Housewives of Orange County. That was a dead giveaway. I wonder how come Teresa Giudice and Louis Ruelas haven't gone on Garrett's show with his wife.
I've been here for a week. These are my brothers. These are my bond. These are my brothers. This is my coach, Kevin. These are guys that are very unfamiliar in my life. I love you.
So then Jennifer goes on to say that she has like adoption stories in her DMs from people and pro pet stories and really happy things like that in her DMs. Well, when it comes to Ryan's DMs, he has boobs and women throwing themselves at him. And I think to myself, I'm not sure that that has to do with Ryan being on the show. Just saying, I'm not trying to be shady, but I mean, honestly, yeah, that can happen. But I don't know, you kind of control that in your DMs, right? And in what you post and all of that, that kind of creates who DMs you. It's been my experience anyway. So that was weird. And then Ryan says that his best thing that he got out of the show was connecting with people he didn't know on DMs about how they admired him being honest about his weaknesses and all these things and sharing in that experience with him. But what was really funny is he's like, they assume the show is real. Well, isn't the show real, Ryan? I'm so confused. Ooh, listen to Ryan kind of coming for production. Listen to this.
I like the base jump.
Yeah.
Okay?
So,
You said you went through something in 2009.
yeah.
Fast forward.
Yeah.
You're a man with an
Yeah.
ego, because we all
Yeah.
have them.
Yeah.
When you get what you're doing now, which is spectacular,
Yeah.
with Warrior, when you get people who come at you, do you,
About my past?
just in regards that everyone wants to have an opinion,
Of course.
so do you want to take the high road? Do you fire back? Are you selective? That's why I'm asking you to teach me out.
Selective.
Okay?
So, literally, you just be honest with yourself. Where you at today? You pissed? Punch him. You're feeling holy? Now let it go. You're feeling like you want to fuck somebody up? Fuck them up. Go live about it. Fuck them up and then go live about it and be like, let me tell you what's going on. Get it out. Because otherwise, if you don't get it out when you want to get it out and you pretend like you're not feeling it, it'll spill over into her and others without trying. So for me, when I saw it, I was like, hey, sometimes I'm just going to blast people. And people are like, I expect more out of you. You would say, Jesus.
There you go.
you're a
So
Christian.
when that
How
happens,
you
now are
doing
you
that?"
like, oh man, I went too far?
No, I say,
No.
good news. I'm not Jesus. Good news. I'm not the Savior. I'm a man who was saved by grace and didn't have to earn it. And me saying, fuck you, doesn't disqualify me from it. So, I'm sorry you don't like it, but we live in a society where people get to talk shit and punch me and my wife and my kids publicly, and you don't say shit.
There you go.
Then I retaliate and I cross-check and I fuck somebody up, and I'm the bad guy because you shit on my front porch.
I feel like
I know, and I oftentimes will be like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't.
so
Like, we
everyone
need
can
to-
fire based on an edit,
Yeah.
and I'm not able to
can't
stand
fight
up for
back,
I can't
yeah.
even stand up for myself.
Yeah.
I'll just take it, and then you see me at the grocery store, I'm like, that's that douchebag guy who did this, and this.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I didn't do any of those things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I ask you. You gotta
That's
train
what
me up here.
That's what I'm saying. How do you counterbalance interpretation of media? Be the most honest people in the game. But if somebody else is controlling the edits, like, listen, if I was ever on a show like this, they would twist my shit sideways. I would look like goddamn Lex Luthor. I would look like the worst motherfucker in the game. They'd be like, Jesus, fuck Jesus. And I see he wants to fuck Jesus. And I'm like, what in the world? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
So what I do, you overwhelm with your own media.
There it is.
You own the media, so everybody eventually will always come back to truth. So people can talk shit all day long about me. But I'm already the one telling my story. Man, it's way bigger than anybody else trying to. When New York Post tried to run shit on me, when New York Times tried to run shit on me, tried to run smear campaigns on me and my brands, it couldn't. It didn't matter. Everything I thought they had, I'd already told them. Own it all. Own it all publicly. Yeah, I was a playboy. I fucked off. I did this. I cheated on my wife. I cheated on my girlfriends. Guess what? That was me. That's who the fuck I was. I had no idea where I was. I was dead asleep spiritually, trying to find my way in this world. And then it happened. I woke the fuck up, and my soul was engaged, and God sent me my universal connection. And guess what? Last time I checked, the Bible is filled with stories of men who were fuck-ups until they woke up.
He uses the fuck ups.
He uses all the fuck-ups.
Okay, all right there, Garrett. We're going to let that sermon sit there for a second. I can't listen to it anymore. Okay. Jeez. No wonder Warriors attracts all the narcissists, because he's literally saying the best way to be is to give in to your impulse control as a narcissist and live your life that way. No wonder it's so popular with those types of guys. Just saying. So I don't know what happened to Garrett White in 2009. That's a mystery to solve, I guess. He's already owned it, so I don't know. It's probably pretty easy to find. Well, it turns out I was sent this anon gossip from two different people at the same time. This was back on September 16, 2022. I posted it into the Patreon, and I said, there are loads of rumors about Louis Ruelas' Warrior Camp and its founder, Garrett White. I guess he also has a hair business that he sends people off to weird training for. The people say it makes them feel like they are being manipulated. Here is two stories from two different people about this strange gossip anon. I put captions in. Shocking that Garrett was at Teresa's wedding for Louis Ruelas. And notice that in the clip that I played you, one of them, the wife says she's a hairstylist, right? Related to Bronwyn Wyndham Burke's gossip. So here's the crowd gossip I got sent. It was like a YouTube video selling without force of manipulation Garrett J. White on YouTube. And the person wrote me, this newlywed's husband, warrior, leader, and friend is is said to send his friends and leadership team to a place in Nashville called Claravita's, where he pays $8,000 for them to be given a pill that is designed to make them, quote, obey. Warrior is a man Jersey circle of men who pays $10,000 for the week to pretend they are training like Navy SEALs. Sean Whalen went through it a few years ago. He and Garrett were in a lawsuit about Sean stealing the Warrior content. Sean just was in hot water over his t-shirts being made in China, not the USA, like he said. Well, Garrett was obviously playing on people's patriotism to sell merch, and then it backfired on him because when people turned on them, they leaked that his shirts were actually made in China. That's what that gossip's about. Warrior men pay money dues to have access to, quote, exclusive content. We hairdressers paid $500 a month. Multiply that by 300 hairstylists. Gary is quite the scam artist. I was told by a former employee Gary is starting a church, in quotes, air quotes. Trust me, it's to avoid paying taxes. He wouldn't know Jesus if Jesus himself bitch slapped him. Amazing. This is a funny crowd gossip. Gary gave me and another woman death threats, harassed our family, contacted my ex-husband. He's a whack job. I don't watch any Real Housewives. I watched years ago when Dina left the Jersey Housewives. I stopped watching. I took Danielle White's NBR hair extension course for 1.5 years. Garrett got involved. He was in a lawsuit with Sean Whalen. He was suing Habit Salon in Gilbert, Arizona. Garrett threatened the owners, Rich and Chrissy. Chrissy was doing celebrity clients and Danielle was jealous. We stylists were told Habit Salon was stealing ideas, stealing education from NBR. I talked to Rich, Christy's husband. He also knows all too well the lengths Garrett and Danielle White will go to take down their enemies. By the way, that's Danielle White talking in that sound clip. The hair extension industry as a whole is like a mafia. It's insane, cutthroat, and more drama than a Housewives episode. And then I got sent this. NBR hair extension training started out normal, definitely different than any other training I'd been to. A few months in, Garrett became involved heavily. His warrior training seeped in. Gary would drop a little Jesus in there so you didn't see the cult-like practices taking place. Gary is the ultimate hype man. He's good at it, not gonna lie. Sean Whalen was heavily involved in Warrior. When Sean's brand Lions Not Sheep became bigger than Warrior, Gary went for the jugular to take Sean down. Whalen did copy Warrior down to his logo, but Gary copied the logo from Porsche. It's all so comical now. We OG NBR stylists are waiting for the Whites to get their karma because they've been ripping off people through Warrior, through NBR, and get away with it. Inside those Warrior trainings is intense and militant. You get sucked in. For the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?